Good morning. You're with Michael Crosby. Today we're going to talk about the big breaches. Well, we're totally screwed. Finally is what? Well, recognized by the federal government. We have, basically all of the telecom providers have just had their hats handed to them. Now, if you've been paying attention all along to some of the stuff, you will have noticed that I displayed some video about two phones getting hacked, and they're just all screwball. Now, if you've listened to some of my other talks, I talk as much as I felt free about talking about the breach situation, about the chip design problems, all of these items. So now, guess what? It's not like my campaign didn't already know something. Here I am, I'm running for president, I'm running for governor. Now, the thing is, when you keep trying to get cooperation from people that keep wanting to attack you and shut your system down, you have to wonder if these people are spies, because it's pretty hard. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but it's important to understand that you don't just legislate with the pen and say, on the quick, we're going to put in regulations and it's all going to be fixed. Like AI. Oh, well, we're going to regulate to say it has to work a certain way, but they don't understand what they're talking about. You have to put money into researching to make sure that people can make it work a certain way. And by the way, the solutions are not necessarily the fix that some people think that they may be. So you can't just turn around on an instant and say, HAL 9000, it's been decided, yada yada. You can't do that. That's how you end up causing a problem and making a true core system possibly go insane. Now, in the film, HAL basically goes crazy and ends up killing the crew because they gave him a series of orders that were really dumb. Without the understanding of his possibilities to be able to resolve the problem. They basically gave him a problem that the only way to resolve it was to kill everybody on board. That's our government. That's our government legislators. And I just watched California proposing stuff on legislation that was exactly in that territory. They're sitting there babbling at the mouth and they don't know what they're talking about. And they're trying to put in restraints on AI developers, and they don't understand enough about the technology to understand what they just proposed, because you had a couple different immediate ways that people who are really serious experts looked at it, like, okay, that's not going to work. That was the response. People laughed. You had techs that laughed. They just go, oh, you got to be kidding me. You just can't do it that way. And you had other people that are like, do you guys understand what you just did? You just put in HAL 9000 error right straight out on the board. Classic. Boom. And it's like, wow, And there were some other responses too, And the thing is that there are some of us that have known a lot of these things kind of sort of all along. Some of us have known them a bit deeper than others. And with some of us, it's more complicated because some of us have to deal with the negative sides of spying. Like my campaigns have had to deal with it on and off for years. So I ended up having to do a lot of custom stuff to my stuff. But then I get my archive attacked and destroyed. I've got people that said that was done deliberately, that people in the state are either Chinese or Russian spies or both, and decided to rat pack you by design, that they designed attacks to hit you specifically in very creative ways. And they're convinced of this. They are utterly convinced of this. And I try to tell someone, I'll say, well, you have to take into account the nuttery factor, because some people are just nuts. They play the beauty contest, they play the popularity contest, and they're actually incompetent. They go, look at all these wonderful sheepskins we got. And they're actually incompetent. And that's where you get like a lot of Republicans. They've got the term, that's where they go, that's a form of the wokeness that they're going to make a lot of jokes about, because they can see it partially, and they know the reality that it can be there, and they'll see the other stupid stuff that in their view people are doing. So, it gets to be a hard thing, to get highly technical, in depth on stuff, be an expert on it, and not end up being woke, so to speak. But the vastness of the matter, I don't want to go into the abuses of the 47 different ways that woke can be laid out, and maybe like 20 of them aren't right, So I don't want to go there right now. I want to focus on the damage that's been happening to my campaign all along, and I'm in the "I told you so" category. So here we have the FBI coming through, going, "Look, the Chinese hacked Donald Trump's phone." You've got to be joking me. You've got to be joking me. You got a master investigation, ends up finding some other guys that throw stuff out on the table. They were doing little tiny investigations and not being necessarily respected or funded, and then all of a sudden people are redeemed, so to speak, for the work that they have been putting in. And now we have, master findings that say, hey, look, our telecom system, it's shot. We can't fix it. There is no software upgrade for it. The hardware, gonzoed. We have to replace all of it. They're talking about the emergency fix to come in right away for change-outs is going to be over $2 billion. They're setting up to get approval right now. They might have already got the paperwork in there to Congress and say, look, we got to do this right away. And we do. We got to do this right away. So where does that leave me and my campaign? Well, it leaves an interesting item here because my entire campaign has been under attack from the very start. We got other people that finally noticed that all of a sudden there was things that hit them. Oh, wow, Harris's phone got hit. Oh, wow, Trump's phone got hit. You've got to be joking. I've been displaying video for almost 2 years to show people what some of these hits are looking like. So you have to wonder, I've got other people call me up and says, it's interesting, Mike, that they hit you first. And I go, really, what do you think that means? It means that they think that you're more of a threat and you're sharper than the other people. That you're more prepared to work with the experts and resolve the matter. Therefore, you're more of a threat. It's an interesting viewpoint. And I'm saying, well, that's given me an awful lot of credit. I guess I could take it as a compliment. But it's in assurities, it's not always that way. Sometimes you have the random factors. When monsters get massively large and lots of arms and tentacles and peoples and the millions and all this other stuff, they're not sure necessarily where to go all the time. It takes a lot of processing. You're talking about years and years of getting profile information on people and making estimates. That's massive amounts of computers, which, by the way, now we're talking about mass economic modeling computers with the high-end state parts about it that deal with the security and various other aspects. So of course, again, I'm redeemed, because I'm trying to get people to put $4 to $6 billion a year into economic modeling software so we can do mass economic modeling. And, it's a big item there. And people were laughing at me. They were laughing at me, And China's put in more than $185 billion into the area. We're on catch-up now. And you not only have them putting money in, and there's other countries putting money in. They've got the early money in, and they're going after things continuously. It's going to keep going. It's not like, we're just going to spend another $4 or $5 billion now. We can finally fix it. No, we're behind. We are massively behind. We now have to sit down and say, how do we match that last $185 billion that China put into that? And you got people scratching their head trying to figure out, how can I avoid this meeting? How can I get out of commenting on this? You know how much money you're talking about. You're talking, big headache right here. But we're behind. We don't have a choice. So now as this comes along, I'm the guy that's vindicated here. Vindicated. But I guess I'm also gated in, so now I'm vindicated to the items here. So again, point after point after point, my campaign on the cutting edge, proving its viability and sharpness. Well, that's what you get when you got a guy with a 240 IQ. You got people out there that they're laughing. They don't believe me. So I haven't had the best of responses from the media. And it hurts. It hurts. I mean, when you explain, they don't like the complicated part where it says, well, we have a RICO problem. We have multiple assassination attempts on me. We can do interviews, but we got to do them a certain way. And they get all upset. It's like, oh, no, we want to put your face on TV. I says, I don't have 80 guys on my security staff. It's not working that well yet. I'm not getting compensated. I've got multiple members of the state of California, hierarchals, that have done enormous damage to me, my campaign, the archives. And these people don't want to own up to what they did, like real men, real human beings, and say, okay, how do we work this out? And it's like, well, obviously I need some money. Cut me a check right now, here today. Oh, we can't do that till we settle out. I have ongoing problems. Okay, this is a RICO situation. What this should be is a normal seizure situation. If you're a business, you're under arrest. I take everything you got. That's the way the system's supposed to work. But our justice system's broke down. Well, we can't give you assistance like that because we're not allowed to investigate ourselves. Yes, you are. So we end up with a bunch of people that are backwards. They want to protect their own butts. So they're going to violate the Constitution and aid and abet people and keep them at large. Not make emergency management decisions and say, well, what do you need? And I says, well, you guys got write-ups I sent in to you. Okay, I need at least $30 million for mailing. That's not very much money. I have to mail a hard copy to each citizen to let them know that the election's been rigged and negatively affected. Oh, these people, you can't get them to communicate adequately. You go to court and the judges are sweating bullets. Oh, we want you to drop all the criminal charges. That's the only way we'll handle the case. That's coercion. I don't have to drop any part of the criminal charges. So here I have the courts do not cooperate. When you tell them the prerequisites, we have a RICO situation, and they keep handing you more paperwork to fill out, and you say, can't fill this paperwork out, we're in a RICO. And they're like, well, we have to have all this other information. No, you don't. You're part of the breach. You're not allowed to have any of it. And they go crazy. They go, we're part of the breach. I says, yes, you're ignorant. You're part of the breach. You have no idea technologically what you're doing and how you're managing it. You're a specialist in a certain field that is dramatically lacking in the needed diversities to make certain styles of decisions. Welcome to the multifaceted requirement of our world. You now must be a multi-tech and a multi-area understanding with degrees. Who can walk around with 8, 12, 16 degrees and an array of fields? There's not enough college time. You can't go to school for 45 years. The way the system's set out, and the scholastic system wasn't listening. When some of us were talking, 35 years ago, 45 years ago, and saying, there's going to have to be a change here. This is not going to work. We have to condense all this and make these into lighter courses. At a government level, some things happen that way. At a government level, like the military, we need to make super experts. CIA, intelligence, specialized operations, also understanding of how do we deal with mass quantities of information, State Department stuff. You have super condensed courses. Military management stuff, super condensed courses to understand stuff. Because it has to get done. They have to have a capability at a certain level. And you've had people that are, throughout my life, I have seen it. In scholastics, you have people that they don't consider these military and different courses viable. Well, those are not real courses. They don't give you the proper diversity. Their idea of, the military turns something into a 3 to 6 week course, and colleges are furious. They're like, oh, no, that's a 4-year course. They're furious. And this is part of the problems that we have in society. We have to have multifacetedism instilled in all of us in order to be able to compete and just operate. And it's slowly, people are just not getting it. You've got all these custom agendas that keep working their way into, our scholastic systems. So, education, it's like, wow, they've got all of this really neat, let's play like a bunch of kids and we'll protest this and that, and we'll work this into part of the program instead of just focusing on education. And, having, I'm not saying don't give a grain of salt to some of this stuff. Yeah, but you have to do it with a better quality of full-roundedness. And you have to help teach people how to be more professional and stay in control about things and not get over emotional and understand tactical realities. We have all these people that want to get involved in specialized protesting and attach it into education. And it's like, do you understand that some of these tactics you're bringing out are not doable? There cannot be the solution that you're demanding. It will not work. So it's like you got to take, you try to explain to people that, well, some of us have branded material, let's call it foreign, sometimes domestically developed, usually foreign, still connected to it. So it's basically a spy book, there's types of spy books. And what's the origin on it? They're designed not to be able to see the origin on them. It's like, well, how's this certified? It doesn't work that way. And they're just, so you end up having a series of tactics where the money's put in, the twist is put in, the pressures are put in, so that you have over-criticism, no real solutionism. To find solutionism, you have to find custom people specifically focusing on solutionism. Just trying to emphasize the word of solutionism, the concept of solutionism, to try to get that instilled to people. There's very few people that are actually teaching that or have talked about that. And so it's always refreshing when you listen to people that are acknowledging the mindsets of solutionism. Because that's, in many ways, that's also the constitutional mindset. The Constitution of the United States is make it a win-win deal. Tax is an illegal word. How about that? Constitutionally, tax is an illegal word. Tax is a known word. The allowances or taxes are emergency stopgap, emergency because we need money for the military, emergency because we need to get a certain special stimulus going. But remember the key words here: temporary, stopgap. That means temporary, by the way. But you need you need to get back to the stimulus. What is it? You back all our citizens. The 60-year wars screwed everything up. And a lot of people that were holding the original vision, arguing for it, kept running into, we're stuck in this 60-year wars, and it's bankrupting us. Wars can bankrupt you. Early on when you're starting out, when you get to become a vast, diversified nation, as we are now, we basically lack for nothing. We are so vastly balanced, it's mind-boggling. Minerals, oil, gas, we got it. So there's no reason that we can't finally realize the original vision structure. And that is, the Republic is supposed to be a new breed invention, an American invention of basically the East Indies Company. Everybody's supposed to have stock. You're supposed to get residuals. You make a big land purchase. It's supposed to be managed and handled certain ways. A little bit of free land for people. Certain types of items have a sale item, people that want to extract minerals. If you're going to get wealthy, you're supposed to pay a certain residual. Please keep this in mind. After the fact, these are after the fact. You want to gamble and try to, do some mining. You're gambling. You're putting your own money into that. Sometimes there's stimulus. That's another talk on that. So yeah, no, you don't have to pay all these, you can't structure it the wrong way. Then we have the wrong type of residual systems, because once something's ka-chung in place the right way, you're supposed to have a continued residual payout. And then the government goes, oh yeah, that money goes to us. No, wrong. That money goes to residuals for the stockholders. That's the citizens. This is why our country's so screwed up, because they've abandoned the original agreements. These people, they don't even know what they are, And you had the burnings, you had the wars and the burnings of the notes and the documents and the horror of all of this. And people go, well, where's it written? I says, man, you're just really behind in history. Do you understand they burned Washington? I mean, how dumb can dumb be? So there's very few of us that still have the pass-through of certain knowledge that ended up making through our family lines about original arguments. My family line, we were never rebellions. We were always constitutional endorsers. We have never committed the sin against the Constitution. And there's not a whole lot of people out there. I don't know that that's saying anything, because people are just born and they're stuck here and they're like, okay, what's going on? And they have to adjust, but we have to repair the way the system's supposed to work. The average citizen was supposed to be getting over $90,000 a year in residuals as of like the late 90s. And our system is all backwards. Mass theft, mass discrimination, mass loan discrimination. The original philosophies are, you want to build a hard asset, you are guaranteed money. That was the philosophy. And the things that got involved, that interfered with that, were war, greed, other factors. So war would get in the way, and then when other people try to reinstitute it, most of the people making the argument had died, and other people somehow temporarily got elected that were less educated, that were less committed. Some of them were funded and actually diabolically opposed to the Constitution and hidden factors. So here's this horrible fight, and you hear these arguments. You look at our forefather arguments, you see this stuff go through, all this activity. But we need to put our foot down and restore the system. Criticism being put out by a lot of people on stuff is a neat, interesting thing, but it's not leading to solutionism. You have people that all they're doing is specializing in criticism, and then they're bringing out answers that don't make any sense. They're not viable. They're not doable. They're too far away from a realist. In other words, where's the someplace lesser, a more immediate item that we can get past? You don't see these people boating a lot of this criticism, bringing to the table the logics of what needs to be done. So that means a candidate, I'm putting my foot down saying, no, we're going to back everybody's labor. Give me a break. They want you to wait till you're 65. They want you to work 45, 47 years before they're saying now you can qualify for retirement. No, that's BS. You only lived to be 38 years of age at the beginning of the country. If you only lived to be 38 years, how could you work 45? That is an unreasonable requirement. Completely unreasonable, unrealistic. You have people running around telling people, lying. It's the American dream to own a home someday, maybe by the time you retire. A lie. That's a lie. No, it's your right to immediately build a roof over your head so you don't die from the elements. It's a mandatory item. This has all been forgotten. Where have you people been arrested and forced into caves or something? I'm serious. I don't mean to backslap you so hard, but everybody's labor is bankable. If you want to build the hard asset, you want to build a home, we guarantee you money to build that. We'll work with you. You don't have a job, don't worry about it. Your job is paying yourself to get this, to do the labor to get this work done. We want you to build the hard asset because today we want to print 90 grand of new U.S. money. So basically, there's some of the morning cast. I've got to get a lot of work done. I've got to get some more stuff up and out there. I'm looking forward to more people doing some more valued contact. I was hoping I would get some more major players that would truly be interested in the campaign. I had a lot of things that I had to reschedule, a lot of things that I couldn't meet or put into the schedule because of all the violent attacks, because of the RICO, because of the attempted assassinations against me. Again, I'm going to tell you, you're really alive when you have bullets coming at you. Really alive. So it's all these different things that some people just don't understand. And we have to put a foot down. We have a massive election rigging. We have to put people in prison. Julie Sue has to go to prison. Shirley Weber has to go to prison. A bunch of different people in different offices, the Secretary of State's office, California, the AG's office, a lot of these people have to go to prison. They're aiding and abetting foreign and domestic spies in destroying the country. So they completely ignored these different reports. When I blatantly would show them, go out and let's just post everything right on X. Here you go. These people are ignoring the paperwork and the complaints coming in the door. Let's put this in front of the people. Look at this. You don't think that I'm sending other material to these people? That there isn't some form of other communications? Oh yeah, big time. So now the whole telecom system's shot. These people don't cooperate. They won't turn over emergency management budgets for the activity they've done. They know they're screwed. They know I've caught them red-handed repeatedly. Constitutionally attacking an archive has a mandatory death penalty. This is not a game. This is not a joke. We cannot allow this action to continue forward. From a Democratic standpoint, the Democratic Party needs to clean house big and fast. Because as more and more of this evidence surfaces, there's no way around it. There's no escaping it. The repairs have to be done, and I'm tired of people not acknowledging the reality of how foreign and domestic intrusions work. They come in from as many angles on all the diversity of parties and organizations they can to get any angle they can because it's always already a for-profit item because of the data they're extracting. And I'm sick and tired of people thinking that their organization is clean. Wake up. Get with reality. There's a constant vigilance that you have to deal with each and every day. And you have to deal with people whose brains are mind-controlled and whose brains have been lied to. You have to deal with slackers and easiness people and all this other stuff that are missing diversity. Our educational system has been poisoned. We have to move forward to undo the mass spy infiltration that's been occurring for years and years and years. And we have to be honest about it. We have to stop lying to ourselves about what's happened. So I'm looking forward to bring great leadership to the nation. Michael Crosby.
You're in poverty. Don't lie to yourself. You've been banned by your leaders to build your own home with your own hands. Christ the carpenter has been banned, as you are not allowed to be your own carpenter. You can make $140,000 to $280,000 each year, working part-time, building your own home because your labor is bankable. Demand to stop to all loan discrimination for construction. Demand the immediate jailing of the leaders responsible. It's time to repair economic national security. Obvious evidence of vivid violence. attempted assassinations, Michael Crosby is a true solutionist, a real archiver. He needs your vote for governor to repair all of your lives.